Thank you, everybody that is joining us. I just need to stop an echo that I was hearing here. But thank you so much for joining us for this live stream of the Neoteran Herald Weekly. As you can see, we're just over an hour from the point where we will have to welcome the new Neoteran calendar week number 32 for this 13th episode of our Neoteran Herald Weekly. I see there's plenty of us, at least 4 of us who are viewing us now, and that's an amazing thing. I don't want us to take too much time, and therefore we just take about a minute until the clock strikes about 1, and then we come back and continue. We just have prayer music a little bit, and then we come back. Yes, now we're exactly 1 hour, and let me just know that whether there is no echo or queer sound coming your way when you listen to me. I think I detected something not very okay when I was trying to monitor the stream. We are exactly about just at a minute, or rather right at an hour from the start of week 32. So thank you so much, and we will not spend too much time on this so that we are able to look at the things that are important, and as we get better in doing what we do, we want to ensure that these sessions are just as meaningful. You find application that you can creatively guide your progress through the week, understanding their pitfalls along the way and how you can avoid them. Remember, from our perspective, you are the most authoritative, creative, divine authority, rather, in your life. And therefore, it's all riding on you. Your fate is not written in the stars. That's what I tell people. No matter what other astrologers tell you, your fate is not in the stars. Your good luck or bad luck, nothing of the sort applies. Yeah, there may be certain candidates sometimes that time is good for doing one thing or the other, but it's according to what you do and what you speak to. You are the one who directs what sort of energy is created. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Jorodewa Hodnowarugongo, and I am the astrologer within Neoteran Creative Neoteran Astrology. Neoteran Astrology is a field of what we call creative astrology, and it is designed for this new age, for this new dispensation, for this new period and era in human consciousness, to elevate us to the position we were always meant to be, as the lords of the cosmos, and as the ones that not only rule over the living creatures that are here, but over the elements and over all climatic conditions and everything that there is. And that is part of it. And this kind of dominance and authoritative, creative direction comes from understanding ourselves first. So I want us to go into week 32. Let us look at the alignments that are there this week. These are the alignments as they are. Rather, these are the dimensions. These are the planetary dimensions as the planets are throughout this week. And or rather, at the midpoint of this week, I want to see that I want to be sure that this week my highlighter is working, and if there is something that is appearing pinkish on your screen, then that is working okay. Now it is not. I cannot see it, and therefore you give me just a minute to fix that. Give me a minute so that when I need to point out something, you can be able to get it. Let me put on some music as I fix that. It will not take more than a couple of minutes to get it right. Hello, and I want to believe that you can hear me clearly. There seems to be some static playing in the background, and I want to know if you can hear it. Because when I try to monitor my voice, I can hear that. And there's something also about the connection. And I don't know, for certain, if people can get me, I'm trying to see if there is so that my stream feedback here can see the original message that I sent, but I wonder whether somebody has sent some other message. It just seems to be something unique about how YouTube is treating. Does it mean that I am not live anymore? Really? No. Since you have a live stream going, the connection is a bit I'm getting some feedback that shows that it's not working well. If I could get somebody really providing me proper some feedback on it, I'll have to view this on the live stream. I want to see it not from the position of where I am broadcasting, but I see if I was viewing it myself as a user, as a viewer, so that I can be certain that you're getting me as you ought to. Okay, now be it as it may, we're going to have to continue the way we are. And I was just on the verge of illustrating for us the essential changes that are happening, or rather the alignment, the planetary dimensions as they are across this week. Let's use a pointer here. This, I think, is the only pointer that is getting across both display screens, and I'm able to illustrate for you. So this is just the planetary dimensions for week number 32. For comparison purposes, we have the dimensions that were there last week. Sorry, I don't know what is the matter with me. I'm fumbling around with my technology today. But this is the one that on week 31, and there we are on week 32, the planetary dimensions. We also look at the planetary zodiacal order. This is as we were last week. This is how the planets were arranged last week, beginning with the anti-solar point, going all the way to the DC node, and that is the order in which they are. But if you check this week and we check at the exact midpoint of the week, that is at the on sunrise on the day of Wednesday, this is how we'll see them lined out in the sky, in the celestial heavens. Again, this reminds me to tell you about some of the things people speak about. Sometimes I get confronted by this idea. Oh, this week there is a lineup of the planets. There is always a lineup of the planets. They always have a particular order. It just the matter. The essential point is, what does it mean for you? And different alignments, different dimensions, different patterns mean different things to different people. The essential point why we go through what we do today is to understand what changes are happening. Some are significant, some are minor implications, others are very, very significant, others are indifferent. Rather, I mean, they don't have either negative or positive application. Some, of course, we also don't understand, and that is why we continue inquiring and understanding and becoming the dominant force in the expression of these planetary patterns as we see them. Now, other things to look at is how the planets are arranged this week, and this is the planetary order of the major planets. You see the first one here is the moon at the very beginning of house number 1. This is at the beginning of this week. That's where the moon is going to be, not at the beginning of the week, but rather on Wednesday at the middle of the week. Then we have this solar expanse that is without or devoid of any major planetary influences, even quite insignificant, not very significant, minor planetary influence. Of course, where the sun is, there is usually lots of activity, because at least the planet Mercury and Venus, very significant planets, especially for our own advancement from our own individual progression to what concerns those people that we care about, whether we are talking about a fraternal or erotic concerns with the people that we have creative progressions with. They have that importance, and therefore, because they'll never be too far away from the sun, then that is why you see most of the time you'll find regular progress. Here is the sun, here is planet Mercury, which is still morning or a morning star planet in progression. By the way, across this week, as it was last week, there is no planet that is in retrograde at this point in time. We have Saturn here, and we have Mars here. Last week we are talking about them being in conjunction. That conjunction has been broken in the sense that it is no longer a perfect conjunction. And then here we have planet Venus still streaking away ahead of the sun. Venus is very, very prominent in the evening sky. Actually, together with Jupiter, they are. Just a couple of days ago, the moon was in conjunction with Jupiter. We spoke about this, I think, last week. And we can understand its significance. So, right now, Jupiter is here in the fourth quadrilateral of the celestial heavens. The moon, of course, is just about to read it and join quadrilateral 1, where we will find it at the important morning. If you want to compare with last week, we can look at week 31, and there you see the changes as they are. Week 32, week 31, week 32, and that is the changes that have taken place across the week. As you can see, there is quite significant changes. When it comes to the minor planets, we of course don't expect that there's going to be much change between what has happened that was being we were showing last week. Actually, there is no significant changes in that sense, except maybe, of course, if you think about like planet like the anti-solar point, which of course last week when we were looking at it, the anti-solar point was just exactly on the verge of entering house number 2. And as you can see right now, it's very much well into house number 2, almost a quarter way through the same motion replicated across the other side of the sky by the major planet, the sun. And the rest of the planets, they are here. One change that you're going to see here is if you look at week 31, and I want you to train your eye on the nodes of the moon. I don't know whether it is this node is because it's the ascending node and this is the descending node, but there is one of them that has made significant changes across the two. Hold on, I'm trying to see which one is changing significantly according to my illustration. It is the ascending node. You can see the ascending node come from week 31. You'll see that it has progressed. Of course, in the course of any 1 week, the only minor planets that you can see making significant changes are the anti-solar point, and here we have Vesta and we have Ceres. And the three of them, you may see there's some significant changes in how they move. But the others are quite slow. They're quite placid in how they move. Now, one thing is this can create a bit of something of almost of a contradiction, because, and I'm glad to see that I'm illustrating the right slide, because we know by default the lunar nodes are supposed to be moving in retrograde motion. They move backwards across the celestial heaven. They are not planets in the sense that they are not luminaries. They are just points in the celestial heavens that give us an indication of something the moon is doing at a particular time. And they are the principal guidance of one of the most important creative cycles of the moon, called the draconic. From ancient times, these nodes, depending on how they are perceived, this is the descending node, and because if you believe descent precedes ascent, as is a major core principle of our astrology, then this is the head of the dragon and this is the tail of the dragon. So we are going to speak a little bit about it when it comes to the highlights of the week, and I'm going to show you what is essential about these nodes, and I try to see if there is any interaction, if there is any comments. I'm not seeing the hotline, but I just see Tabby's. Dorcas, thank you so much for joining us today. We are glad to have you. If you are still listening to us, if you've joined us in the middle of a stream, for purposes of monitoring the chat, I'm only just now, okay, I cannot be able to identify how many people are tuned in, but I do have an indication, and I believe that I am able to look at the live chat and be able to tell. I don't want to repeat of what happened a couple of weeks ago when people are responding, and the interface I get from YouTube Studio does not give me those remarks or reactions as they are going live. So we were talking there of the ascending and the descending node. This is the ascending node, and normally they move in retrograde. But there are periods in time that the nodes of the moon don't start moving in retrograde, at least for some few days. The mechanics of how this is done, we have yet to create a system that is able to monitor these properly. And therefore, as we gain in confidence and understanding about these things, we're going to treat them as usual, and we don't usually consider the retrograde or prograde as very, very essential for our creative purposes and mapping as far as the lunar ascending and descending nodes are concerned. We actually compare them in their tropical alignment? Are they in the descent phase or the ascent phase? Are they in the period where they are increasing in their positive declination or negative declination? So look at these patterns. They give us a certain pattern. These patterns, we have coded them in our system. By the way, we are not afraid to say some of the things that we've already encoded in our system have yet to attain meaning. We have not yet ascribed to them creative purposes. But the more we continue doing this work, we are giving a creative interpretation to certain patterns, dimensions, and alignments that come along the selective heaven. And if I'm to say the repertoire, the kind of stories and understanding and mythical understanding is already impressive. It rivals any system that has ever been created. So Neoteran astrology may only be 6 years old, but it's rich with significance and applicability and positivity and distinction that enables you to become a creative persona, a creative deity over your own life. Thank you. If you're still tuning and if you can hear us, don't stint from showing us you are giving us an indication there. Thank you so much. I know there's some people we did not manage to notify because launching an application where we can create notifications quickly as you're streaming is not very straightforward. Now we're about at 29 minutes away from the point at which we are going to have to speak to welcome the new day, the new day and the new day first, the new first day of the week, and that is week number 32. And having looked at the alignments, we're going to take a very short break, and then after that break, we're going to come and look at the significant dimensions, alignments, and the astrological highlights that denote what next week is about. So thank you so much. If you have something to say, even just a remark, an encouragement, or a correction, just let your sentiments be known. Leave them in the live chat, and we talk. So we're coming back in about 5 minutes. Thank you, and welcome back to the Neoteran Herald Weekly live stream of episode 30. And we are right now just 35 minutes, uh, just of less than 35 minutes actually to the start of the new week. And if we look, I want us to consider the calendar so that we look at this week, the second week of month. Month 8, the 8th common month of our calendar. And this is the one that starts here on the 8th day, that is Sunday, and proceeds on to 14th. The 14th is a significant point in time because that is the day we're going to have the lunar solar conjunction that indicates for us the midway point in the month, gives us the point of the moon and the sun are their most complementary in their energies. Remember, oppositions are not what is defined. Other astrological schools look at oppositions and they tell you about what they call clashes, and they tell you that there is a collision, there is a opposition and rhetoric, that things are going to be set against you. Now, that is a very simplistic and actually inaccurate way, because it's to say that one kind of outcome is guaranteed for virtually everybody. But for us, oppositions are complementary, while conjunctions, they are supplementary in nature. And that means that if there is a certain kind of energy that is being provided by these bodies that we are considering at that point in time, and if they are in conjunction, that means there is one kind of nature of that relationship that is at its height, it's at the most optimal, it's at its most maximal expression. Now, where they have different natures and they are at opposition, then these natures are complemental. Is that if there is one that is good for forward progress, another one that is good for taking stock, then this is a period of time where both kind of provisional alignment is given in almost equal measure. So that is what's happening this week. This is the nature of the second week of month 8, and it is week number 32, of course, in the year. Uh, so what about the alignment themselves? What about particular dimensions? What about creative opportunities are there that are happening this week? Now, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks at least, and we are talking about whatever is happening within the Neoteran celestial house Habizelda. That is the seventh celestial house in our system. And this multi-planetary conjunction is going on. It is changing its nature every week. And therefore, what you see, I'm trying to go to the next point, is that none of the planetary bodies that we were considering last week, remember there were three last week that still had a perfect conjunction aspect between each other. That was planet Mars, planet Saturn, and planet, was it Neptune? No, it was not Neptune. Rather, if you go back to that slide, we can go back to that particular slide. I'm trying to just hand out the correct window in my multiple slide. If you look at that, we're talking about major planets, weak, that one. And here they are. It was planet Mercury, Mars, and Saturn. So that was the conjunction that was in force. Let's go back to our highlight slide. And here we are. I hope you'll be able to see it as just as it was. So yeah, it has ended. It's no longer there, no longer being forced. But the conjunctions don't only apply to what we call perfect conjunctions. We have what we call house conjunctions, host conjunctions, and that is happening. And that is the nature of what is going on here. My slider is not following my orders. So, okay. But the ones that are in house and host conjunction here within Habizelda includes planet Mars, planet Mercury, planet Saturn, Neptune, and Aries. Those are still either squarely within house Habizelda, or they are within very close proximity that they can be considered. Like Aries is just about, is it in its alignment? Are we considering Aries in house Habizelda, or is it in house 8? Is it in Habizelda or house 8? If you go back to the planetary dimensions and you look at the planetary dimensions for planet Aries, which is a minor planet, of course, here we see planet Aries here is in house Habizelda, but within close proximity to house 8. Okay, if you look at the planetary order, which gives us a much better indication of how these planets are, is that we see everything from Neptune, Habizelda, Saturn, Mars, Mercury. Aries is the one that is the only one that is at the border. We have the Sun. This is week 31. Sorry, we should be showing week 32. I was so stunned. The Sun is not within Habizelda anymore. So we are talking about week 32. That's what would have given me quite a shock to see. So yes, we have planet Neptune, planet Saturn, planet Mars, planet Mercury, and Aries within Habizelda. Aries right at the division, yes, squarely and properly within Habizelda, but within very good proximity of house number 8 there. And that's the nature of that alignment that is continuing this planetary conjunction that is taking place within Habizelda. So the house is Habizelda and the host is Pisces. Let's look at either what is continuing this week or beginning this week. So week 32. We have something that we didn't remark about last week because our tools were not very, very good. Remember, we are still going on improving. So sometimes we'll be looking at some things in retrospect. And I am trying to not to follow through with the live stream to see if there's any remarks about any of what we are doing. And I believe that lacking that is an indication that we are doing a very good job. So this is something we didn't speak about last week, but it was already happening last week, and that is when it comes to planet Venus. Remember, we said from last week that these synodic planets, that is planet Venus and planet Mercury, is not going to be just enough to describe them by their names, not just their cardinal names, but we need to know at what sort of phase are they. If we look at whether they are morning or evening, remember this description, ultrasolar and infrasolar. Ultrasolar means it's an evening star. You can see it, these synodic planets, you can see them right after the sun sets. If it is infrasolar, that means you'd see them before sunrise, and therefore they are morning stars and the evening stars. So that is so the Venus, of course, continues to be prograde. It's an ultrasolar planet, and at this point in time, it is in perfect conjunction. It is continuing. If you look at these further details about this conjunction, it is happening, of course, at the cusp of house 8 and house 9. And what does that mean? A cusp means the division. It is just about to join house 9, but well within the influence of house number 8. So house 8 and house 9, that is where the conjunctions happen. It happened, started last week on Tuesday, and it's going to go up to Wednesday, the 11th date of this 8th month, and its perfection, the point of maximal alignment in this conjunction, happened on the 6th of the 8th month. That was yesterday. Yesterday, that was when this perfection was happening. Again, we can remark about this. This is something that will have all sorts of implications for different sort of people. For most of us, most likely to be indifferent. I don't mean that it cannot be used, but I mean that it will neither have any caveats placed upon it, and indeed will also not be that ultimate direction that this is essential for you. It's only from the perspective of your astrological profile that can provide that understanding. So let's know that's why it's essential to know it, because this can be very, very hugely significant about for somebody who needs this conjunction to make use of whatever it is that the ultra-solar prograde Venus can provide when it is conjoined perfectly with planet Uranus. And next is, okay, sorry, these are what are not appearing in the right order, so we'll deal with them together. So something else that is happening this week is Ceres, planet Ceres. Is one of the minor planets as such, but it's an important one. And it is going to change its celestial host. It's going to move from the host Aries and it's going to go to Behemoth. It is not changing a house, it's only changing a host because it's within house 8. Celestial house 8, Neoteran celestial house 8 is what we call a chimeric. It's a chimeric house in the sense that it has two zodiac beings sharing their influence across it. It has got two, the division, the entry division and the exit division are dominated by two different zodiacal constellations, Aries and Behemoth, or what in other systems you hear being referred to as Taurus. And therefore, Ceres is going to be doing that change, and this change is happening to the day that is passing, 7th of the 8th month on Saturday. So it just happened some few hours ago. It's going on right now as we are speaking. Something else is happening. It's also going to take place, and that is the prograde transit, the prograde transit of planet Venus, which, as we said time and again, is an in its ultra-solar prograde phase of its cycle. It's going to happen on Sunday, actually very few hours from now. And even if this change is happening from one house into another, house 8 and house 9, house 9 is also dominated by the Behemoth. The Behemoth occupies the entirety of the zodiacal section of house number 8, not house number 9, and also the exit division of house number 8. So even if Venus makes this prograde transit, and is this an ordinary transit, or is it a creative gateway transit? It's an ordinary transit. It's not a creative gateway transit. It's not one of the four that fit that description. Out of the 24 we can talk about, only 4 of them qualify to be called creative gateway transit, and this is not one of them. It's one of the 23 more run-of-the-mill usual kind of house and host transits that are happening. So as you're saying, the hosts remain the same because that section of the celestial heavens, even that division between house 8 and 9, is occupied by one celestial host, one celestial creative being called the Behemoth or Taurus. So that is happening. Time for us to look at the, or rather, what are we doing? What? So we are talking about 22 minutes. We still have 22 minutes to speak to the start of the week. And let us look at some more highlights. Remember, we are still yet to go to the point where we talk of the changes that relate directly to the moon. So planet Ceres. Plenty is happening with planet Ceres. We have already spoken about this, haven't we? So this is a repeat. And I wanted to see if they have made a confusion. So this is, yeah. Ceres is changing its celestial host from Aries to Behemoth, happening on Saturday. It's already happened. But next in line is the perfect square. Remember, we've talked about squares, but we've not yet found one that was perfect in that sense. So it's going to attain this one between the Sun and Pluto is going to attain its maximal alignment. It's a perfect square, but when we have it maximal, the most definitive square, that means it will be exactly 90 degrees between the Sun and the planet Pluto. Happens this Sunday, the 8th of the 8th month, at a particular moment in time. Again, this is something that is going to be significant and not significant for others. If you want to understand more, you can get in touch with me. But of course, the best way is to ensure that you have your planetary natal, birth chart, birth profile that gives you the understanding about what this alignment, this dimension, or this creative pattern in the arrangement of celestial heavens with such significance as the Sun and Pluto have a significance for you. So this one began on Wednesday, just last week, or the week that is coming to an end, Wednesday, the 4th of the 8th common month of year 6 Errorium, and ends on Wednesday, 11th of the 8th common month of the 6th year in the Neoteran dispensation Errorium, that is now 60 years old. So this is a square aspect. This is something like it's a little bit progressive, takes time, begins with a minimal influence, attains maximal influence, maximal arrangement between those two planets. What they mean is different for different people. So those are like the highlights. And remember, we are talking about highlights. I'm not saying this is the entirety of what is happening in the celestial heaven, but these are the ones that are noteworthy. These are the ones that will be able to make use to harness for various creative enterprises. I usually have a greater bias, especially to things that have to do with the sun and the moon, because something that is to do with the sun and the moon we don't have too many caveats about it. So that is why you see there is plenty that have to do with the sun and the moon. And of course, then the moon also does a lot of alignment itself more than any other planet. Some of them do have caveats, some others don't have. So let's look at the moon's transit and alignment. This is the last thing we're going to look at before we speak to the start of the new moon. So these are a selection. This is a selection of five alignments and transits that are important to the lunar cycle. Different lunar cycles, tropical, draconic, and synodic, as you can see from the nature we describe here. So the moon, we are looking at it as multifaceted, cyclic, creative cycles that have significance for all of us. And again, I want to look whether there is any comments that have been posted in the live chat. I don't see any, other than what we had with Dorcas quite not long ago. So let's look at on Sunday, this very day that is starting, actually that has started, but for which we are waiting the ultimate signal in no more than 18 minutes from now. We're talking about the lunar node transit. A lunar node transit is when the moon aligns with one of its lunar nodes. The only time, because this is ruled by the draconic cycle, but when the moon does that transit, and it is related also at a significant point in the synodic cycle, you usually get the eclipse. But because when this is happening, the moon is not in a significant either beginning or end or middle point of its cycle, then we don't get an eclipse because of this. But it's a potential eclipse. Half of the equation is fulfilled, the other half that needs to be on the synodic cycle is not fulfilled, so we don't end up getting an eclipse for that matter. This happens a week early because, of course, a week early or a week late, because the other conjunction was of a week ago, and the opposition is happening, as you may have seen, for the more perceptive of you, happening on Saturday. The two of them were happening at the same time. This lunar node transit and this lunisolar opposition was happening at the very same time. We would get an eclipse. That is the secret about eclipses. And that is why eclipses, as much as they are powerful, because they don't just involve the synodic cycle, we do have a little bit of caveat about what we can do and not do. And then on Tuesday, a couple of days later, we're going to have a planetary opposition between rather expressed with the moon and a minor planet Vesta. We talk of this like being instantaneous in the section that it doesn't have this sort of progressive, rhythm, where it starts slowly, then there is a sort of a standstill point where you get maximal point of accessing it, and then it ends slowly. Normally, those ones, the ones that are progressive, are the ones that have to do a little bit with either the synodic cycle of the moon, or sometimes with a tropical one where there's involvement of a standstill. And then a day later, on Wednesday, the 11th of the 8th month, we're going to have an opposition, planetary opposition with several stars that are in Zelda. And this can tell you that during this time, the moon will be in house 1. Because all these are the planets we are talking of just not too long ago. And speaking of them being in Zelda, house number 7, for them to be in opposition, the body that can be in opposition to them must be 6 houses away, and that is house 1. And that is planet Neptune. That is the one that is going to start early in the day on Wednesday. Then later, progressively, we're going to get Saturn, and then we're going to get Mars. That is on the lunar tropical cycle. Okay? And then on Thursday, and this is the sort of like maybe these days you're going to look at something, one event that is a little bit of a highlights, the major highlight. This, I think, is like the one that marks for us the most significant thing happening this week. And as truth would have it, it's going to be happening on the very midpoint in the week. So there we go. And Thursday, 12, there is a planetary opposition, again, continuing, because at that point in time, Mercury, well, outside of that, what I think by that time, Mercury will have moved away significantly from house number 9, house number Zelda. It is already, of course, in house 8. It is going to have that opposition because it's only one of it. That the nature of that event is instantaneous. It has a particular point in time at which it is considered to have happened in the tropical cycle. And then we have the biggest of them all, lunisolar opposition. Lunisolar means has to do with the sun, the moon, and the sun, and it's happening on the last day of the week, on 14th of the 8th month of the 6th Regnum year in the Neoteran calendar. It's, of course, on the synodic cycle. So these are, the most significant events happening across this week. As usual, it's a mixed bag of them. And if I can go through the slides once again, and we notice what they are, take a note of them. We are going to share these slides, of course. Make note of what they are. Some of them will have significance, especially for those of you who have already got your natal profile. This is something that you don't need me to check for you, because you can look at what aspects were there in your natal profile if you have paid one that gives you a significant amount of aspects, because aspects are some of the more exclusive sort of information that we give. So if you can see that, you may need to get in touch with me, ask me what it is that you need to do. And of course, here are the transits that have got to do with the moon. We are only 12 minutes away. We are 12 minutes away from the start of week number 32. We are 12 minutes away from start of week 32. And I want to give you about 5 minutes to go prepare myself to get maybe a cup of water. And then we're going to gather here with about 5 or so minutes, and we will prepare to welcome week number 32 with authority, with an understanding that we have the ultimate, license to declare progress, good tidings, and a turning around of events, if that's as it may be, for ourselves, for our loved ones, for those we have an influence over the course of this week 32, the next 7 days that are coming. And thank you so much. We're still over 5 minutes away. We'll come together at the appointed time. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much. So here we are, just over 5 minutes from the start of week number 32 in the sixth Eroranium year of the Neoteran calendar. And we want to prepare ourselves so that we can speak creatively, authoritatively, with utter conviction and utter belief in the infallibility of the things that we order for our benefit, for our progress, for our good, for our honor, elevation, and every good standing. So I hope you've had time to consider what is it like it is that you have programmed or you have planned or you would desire or would want to see come to fruition, come to be within the course of the next 7 days. And those are the things that we're going to speak about. And I'm going to use quite general terms, but I want your consciousness to think in very specific terms, in terms of the things you want to do, and also the level of success that you want to achieve. Your consciousness is everything. Then your vibrations and our vibrations together, as we agree together, at the very end of this, will have enough power to bring to be what it is that you desire. So here we are, an assemblage of divine beings with creative mandate, authority, and capacity to bring to be whatsoever it is that we desire, whether it is in this realm or in the most transcendental of realms, whether it is something that is material or something that is abstract, whether it is something that concerns what we own and possess, or it concerns something those that we wish well and good for, are concerned that these words are about to bring about the change. Every one of the openings and doorways that are happening over the course of the next 7 days, the start skills, the transits and the alignments and various dimensions that have a different significance to who we are working together for our good. They are shaping to be doorways of our success, because this 32nd week of the era Regnum dispensation in this calendar is going to be remembered in all time as the point at which we who are assembled on this point in time became significant, entered with boldness, entered with conviction, entered with assurance that nothing we have put our collective endeavor, individual efforts, and every sort of solic or spiritual application is for naught. Our hands, the work that they need to do, is blessed. We enter into this week, let there be greatness found for us. Let our territories in terms of leadership, in terms of business dominance, expand across the 7 days. Let the contracts that we enter into have significance and favor us considerably with the parties that we go into. Let the technologies and innovations that we speak, let the language that comes out of us have reverberations that don't just imply and signify and impact the life in the cosmic arena, but in the transcendental realms. Let every sort of dispensational energy that is going to be released across this week as the cosmic time machine rolls on find us in favor. Let every angle and measure that can work for our good be found there. Let us know, let the wisdom that we have find application in all sorts of applications. We are certain that this week will be the start of even greater propulsion into what things we shall do in the future that is coming. These days, as we number each one of them, as we name each one of them, as we see the darkness of it come and the light of it ascend into our sight, the beauty of it, the significance of it will not diminish. We are certain that our words have power to not only initiate these changes, bring them to a crescendo, but to accomplish them, so that when we behold the fruits of our labors across the week, we will have glad heart, knowing for certain that these things are done for sooth, for truth, for all time. For we speak this, and accord them consequent and permanent. For it is so, and together let's make a refrain. It is beautiful, it's significant, it is marvelous, it's wonderful in our sight. You are blessed, you are progressive, you're going to be dominant, and you'll see consequence of progress, of harvest, and of abundance much more than you've seen across the ages as this day darkens and then rises, and then the Sunday does the same, the Monday does the same, the Tuesday does the same, the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday. But let me meet here for episode 14. Let me meet again here at this very same time. I'm certain you'll have such a record of success that that even you yourself will marvel at just how good, powerful you are. You're blessed, you're significant, you're consequential. Good night, good day, good night. See you next week, same time, for episode number 14 of the Neoteran Herald Weekly. Signing off is your personal astrologer, Jirajawa Home Warugo. See you next week.